6 o'clock, and we could rise, say the pledge of allegiance to the flag. I suppose pick one. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to tonight's board meeting. Board meetings are generally held on the third Tuesday of the month. The Board of Education is a body of school district residents elected by the community in charge of conducting school-related business. The meetings are conducted under the open meeting law but are not open forums for the community. That being said, visitors to these meetings are to conduct themselves properly and with respect to any other individuals at the meeting. The Board of Education reserves the right to remove any individual for improper display of behavior or inappropriate language. The Board of Education will have a period of time devoted to visitor requests following any board presentations and the approval of minutes shortly after the opening of the meeting. Individuals wishing to address the board will be permitted to speak for up to 3 minutes for a total of 30 minutes, which may be allowed for public comment. If we have any visitors tonight, we'll go over the guidelines a little bit more closely when the time comes. Hello, Fady, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well so far. Before you do roll call, Mallory Benjamin will be excused tonight. She's en route to come back from a meeting that is far away. And then Maria Thompson is also going to be absent tonight.
Okay. All right, with that being said, the roll call for the rest of you. Mr. Zila?
Here.
Mrs. Emerson?
Here.
Mrs. Younger-Davis?
Present.
Mr. Stabell?
Here.
And Mr. Wheeler?
Present.
Thank you, Fady. Okay, tonight starts a series of budget workshops that we're going to conduct a little bit differently this year. We're going to incorporate them into our board meetings, so they'll precede our board meetings. And as we kind of work through this, we're going to get kind of down closer and closer to ground level. So tonight, Mr. Vans.
Well, you kind of took my
Yeah,
opening
well, sorry,
there.
buddy.
No, but again, just to kind of, set the stage for this, we thought it'd be a good idea to incorporate the budget workshop meetings into the regular meetings. It's January, obviously, we're furthest away from the budget vote. But as we move, again, like you mentioned, through the months and we get closer and closer and closer, we'll be putting a finalized plan for board adoption on what will be the April 14th meeting, because also on the agenda tonight is to change the board calendar, to revise it, to change the date from April 7th for budget adoption to April 14th. And that's as a result of the April 7th meeting is during break. So the 14th we will be back in session. Laura's going to take us through some slides, and between the two of us, we're going to just share some information, and then certainly there'll be an opportunity for questions. So I'll hand it over to you.
So to begin the budget process, to start at the highest level, we start with the rollover budget. Many of you are probably familiar with this slide. You've probably seen it before, what a rollover budget is and what it isn't. So for a rollover budget, we're just looking at what it would cost us to maintain exactly what we have now. So any collective bargaining agreements, we would put the increases on those, but anything that isn't related to the personnel contracts or benefits is not included in a rollover budget. So if you look at the middle tab, what it's not is any adjustments to non-personnel related items, materials and supplies, your service contracts, your equipment. So why do we do a rollover budget? This is just to get a preliminary view of where we are so we can start working on either the revenue side of things, the expenditure side of things, or really a combination of both. So here are the assumptions. Like I said, a rollover budget maintains the staffing at the current levels we have now. So we're not looking at retirements, we're not looking to add. This is just what it would be to maintain the levels. Like I said, it doesn't reflect any retirements. Health insurance, we're looking at an increase of around 33%. That number is still fluctuating. We're not sure where that will end up. We have another Genesee area healthcare meeting in February, so I'll get a little better number there. And as we move along, that's going to tighten up for us. The TRS and ERS rates haven't fluctuated too much. Our debt service, that's going to be reflected in the rollover budget, and I'll explain that a little more. And again, we are not changing anything else. So any equipment, which wasn't in the current budget because we under contingent budget, none of that is changing under this rollover budget. So if we look at expenditures, the 25-26, what you're looking at there is what was budgeted, not necessarily how expenditures are going at this point. So the rollover budget for the 2 salaries, I just added 3%. So when I actually get into budgeting, this district's small enough, I'll be able to go employee by employee, put them in the correct codes, and exactly get their exact salary for 26-27. I'm not at that point yet, so I just put 3% for those. You'll notice the benefits are going up higher than the 33%. I just said they were going up. That's due to a couple factors. The benefits isn't just health insurance. That includes ERS and TRS. So I took the instructional, non-instructional salaries, multiplied them by the expected rates. And also what was budgeted for benefits is a little under where we're going to end up this year. So I'm taking what's trending actuals and adding the 33% to that to get to that benefits number. You'll see our debt number increased substantially. That is because in July we financed the current capital project. So while that number is increasing, you'll see on the revenue slide, our building aid is also increasing. Capital, that's usually where we'd have our transfer to capital or our capital outlay. And as you know, we didn't have that in 25-26 due to the contingent budget. The other, that's everything else in the budget, your materials and supplies, your service contracts, utilities. So I haven't adjusted that. But you can see total expenditures this year were $24,600,000 and change, and we're looking at $29 million at a very high level look. So revenue. The estimates, I put almost all of these in italics because these are going to be changing. So it's hard to look at this slide. So state aid, like I said, we got the runs for January, but I'm adjusting the state aid based on the building aid we're expected to receive based on the capital project that's ongoing now. And the final cost reports will be turning in. The tax levy, I just left at the current year levy. That's something we'll have to talk about as the budget process goes on. Pilots, that's going to be your exact figure. So we're getting a couple hundred more in pilots next year than this year. Federal aid, that's just your Medicare, Medicaid reimbursement. Unclassified, that includes all your donations, your interest earnings, tuition from other districts, sale of surplus materials, and other miscellaneous revenues. So we're looking at $25.5 million here, and remember the other side was slide and expenditures was roughly $29 million. So at the current time we have a little of a gap. But remember, we also put in appropriated fund balance and reserves to try and close that gap, and those numbers, it's too early in the process to even be discussing that.
I don't want to interrupt you, but that unclassified, well, shall we expect that to be much lower this year because we had the sale of everything from the fields before construction and stuff? So when did that fall under that? We're not going to have all that this year?
That is the 25-26 was what was budgeted, not necessarily the actual.
Actual what?
Right. So if we sold things that we didn't expect to sell, and honestly, the sale of things is a small part of this unclassified, so that's not going to adjust that very much. Where I expect to see this go down a hair is interest income. Interest rates have gone down a little bit, so what we're getting from NY class isn't as high as it was before. So that might adjust that down a little bit. But we do get tuition from other school districts, and I know Lynn's been doing a good job getting children in the building, so that's been giving us some revenue. But again, these are estimates for next year based on what was budgeted the prior year. So factors bearing on this budget. If you remember, this year we're under a contingent budget. We had almost $1 million removed from the original proposed budget. So we didn't buy buses, we didn't have a capital outlay, and we didn't buy any equipment. So if you're looking at the rollover budget, remember none of these things are being rolled over. We don't have any plans for buses in this budget. We don't have any plans for, we would like to do the capital outlay, but that's not in the rollover budget. For the revenue, we'll look at the tax cap slide next. Foundation aid. I'm sure you're aware our district is on hold harmless, which means we've been getting more than the calculated financial or foundation aid for several years. So now that foundation aid is fully funded, they don't take that additional money away from us, but we also don't get a lot more. So this year our increase is around 2% when we're not looking at UPK, which is included in the state runs when those come out. Title grants, we have them this year. We're still concerned about where those might go in the future. The UPK grant is funded by the state, so I'm pretty sure we'll still get that one. But the title grants at about $275,000. There are salaries and benefits, obviously, in those, so we'll have to keep an eye on what the federal government is planning on doing with those. So here's your preliminary look at the tax cap. If you remember, this is a formula with a lot of variables. So starting at the top, you take last year's tax levy. We didn't use any reserve offsets. This number, the tax-based growth factor, comes from the state. Our pilots, these are the current year pilots, these are the 25-26 pilots. So looking at this tax cap, they're called prior year, even though they're the ones that are current that are in this year. We didn't have any torch judgments. We didn't have any prior year capital tax levy being under a contingent budget. This is the 2% the public usually hears about, the cap of 2%. This is where that variable goes. These are the 26-27 pilots. So this is our levy before adjustments. Our capital adjustments come from our expenditures minus our revenues. So the expenditures would be our debt service. There are some BOCES capital in there. The revenue is our state aid. I think that's pretty much it for revenue what we're getting for aid. So that's the difference between the two. So this would be our tax cap, $6,150,455. That's an 8% increase over the prior year. So where we'd want to set this cap would be a discussion for the board. We can go up to as high as 8% at this point. These numbers may still fluctuate. We're going to get new state aid runs. I don't expect this to change too much. But that number, again, I was estimating our building aid for the current year capital project based on what our financial advisor gave us. So those aren't yet numbers from the state that aren't finalized, so this might change slightly. This is a very preliminary look at this. Oh, there we go. So for the next steps, we're continuing to take a deeper look into our expenditures while maintaining our programming. We'll be reviewing staffing, retirements, looking for savings in non-personnel areas. Again, we have to watch those state aid runs for revenue and hone in on where those numbers might land. And my next large project is doing projections for the current year budget to see where we're performing. We're halfway through the fiscal year. So I can get a better idea if our budgeted numbers are where we needed them to be for this budget to perform. So the important dates coming up, as Mr. Banzer said, we're coordinating the budget workshops with the meetings. So these dates match the upcoming board meetings. And just a reminder, the annual budget vote is going to be Tuesday, May 19th.
And like after tonight, that April 7th date will change. That's currently.
Oh, that's right. I have the old date on there.
Yeah, and that will change. We'll update that. But just a couple of high-level comments at this point. And I've said this a couple times. One of the things that I have never worried about, that I am worried about this year, are the federal grants. For as long as I've been involved in this, you never really had to worry about your federal grants. You just hope maybe you got a little bit more. but you were never worried that you weren't going to get them at all. And there is a bill in the House that would create significant cuts for federal grants. There's also, as I understand it, a version in the Senate that does not have those cuts. So that, that's something that, again, we've always kind of known that was there, but for the first time, in my career, that's something that is more of a question mark than it's ever been before. So that's a bit concerning in addition to everything else. So, the other thing, just in closing then, obviously, if there's questions, but, your budget is obviously it's your revenues versus your expenditures, but it's also about values. It's also about your programming. It's also about what we want to be able to provide for our students and our community. And so that is the work in front of us. That's the work that we've begun. It's obviously not starting tonight, but this is the first workshop, and we are really going to be working to refine that over the coming months. And as we do at each of the next few meetings, we will certainly be updating the board on that and the community.
Well, thank you. I think a couple of takeaways is the increase in health insurance. Coupled with TRS and ERS is 45%. I think that's kind of scary.
Yes.
I think we've seen maybe 16, 17% increases in the past. This is more than double. I also think about that contingency budget and not some of the things that were lost within that contingency budget. That capital outlay, where we kind of just rolled over that $92,000 every year, we have to generate that $100,000 to get that started again. So it may not look like a big deal to not have that this year, but it's compounding, right? Like it's just now we have to refund that if we're interested in doing that again. And then with the buses as well. We're not going to have access to diesel buses for much longer, I don't believe, and our fleet has been depleted because of the contingency budget. So just it's stuff that we have to continue to I think those are going to be some hurdles for us and some deeper questions. Yeah, thanks. This is definitely a high level look, but even the 8% tax cap is higher than what we've experienced before, and I'm not saying that we go to 8%, but it's more than what we've seen probably in part of the contingency budget. So I think the other thing too, how we're performing, I'd be very curious on where we're at with that, and maybe start having a little bit more updates in regards to that, and then if we could have this shared online. That would be great as well, so that if they weren't here or would rather be able to go through it in their own time opposed to watching it on YouTube, that'd be just another way that people could have access to it, so that would be great if we could get that up there. And then Pete, you were also saying earlier to me that this is where did we find this? You said it's not on the general calendar yet?
Yeah, so it says board meeting on the calendar, but so if I jump on real quick and that's where I'm going to look for everything, the doesn't say budget workshop on there.
Okay.
And then Justin sent me back, well, it's right here on the main page, and I wasn't looking for it there. I was going to the calendar.
The calendar. Okay.
Yeah.
We can update the calendars too. Yeah.
That's okay. And then continue to kind of roll stuff out through the parent square through the community.
Yes.
And that would be great if we continue to do that.
Yeah, and that was one of the things. Once it's approved, we put out this meeting that it's a budget, but then we're going to let them know that all of the meetings all the way through April are going to be budget workshop regular meetings.
Yeah, and if people see anything that they're questioning or they're not sure of, if they can get a contact with one of you two, or come to our next meeting and participate. I'd rather have you here in the preliminary conversations opposed to after we vote, because those conversations are no fun for anyone.
I like the way they did the rollover because it shows people that these are expenses outside of our control. So no matter what's going to happen, these expenses are going to happen, right? And I think that's important to show that, so what was that, 4 million increase?
Mhm.
And that's not
5 maybe.
not even buying more pencils or anything, right? And that's pretty scary when you have that much. And I think last year when we were going through the budget, I was figuring we were going to have to cut 5% this year and 5% next year. Well, just doing quick math, that's $1.2 million this year. $1.2 million, 5% cut doesn't get us where we need to be. So that makes it even scarier of where we need to be. But I do think, so last year we talked about doing a 3-year projection as well. I don't know if you remember that. I remember John had taken notes or whatever, but I think that's good to show as well. We can show a 3-year projection of the budget, because then people can see those fixed costs over years. And I think that, honestly, as a board, I think it's a mistake on our part that we haven't done that in the past, because of the years that we passed the 0%. We weren't looking further down the road. We were only looking at that year, and we weren't projecting down the road further for things that were coming. Now, obviously, nobody saw 33% health insurance coming this year, but we would have at least known what that compound is at 17%. So I think it's good for the not only us to see it, but also everybody in the community to see even what's coming down the road. Even if you take the averages of increases, I mean, I would imagine electric costs this year are higher percentage increase than they have been over the last 3 years as well. So there's a lot of stuff like that if we can build in those averages and see just what's trending and going up, that maybe we can try to be a little more proactive on that as well.
And that can help us to set tax cap that would be
more of a steady than, I think in the past, we've only averaged 2.5, but it's been 0.004. And
well, up until recently, it was 0.9. I think our wasn't it? It was less than our tax cap increase was pretty steady.
It was pretty
low. What we were our increase that we were asking for is very, very low.
Yeah.
But I think just to being able to see that for the next 3 years would be helpful for the board to understand what's coming down the road, but also for the public to also be able to see.
And then just make that a process. So if we're not here or somebody's taking on a board position, they'll just know this, and the public will know this is what the expectation, where is the projection, and where are we within the process. Yeah.
And it's always important in those situations when you make projections that you're very clear about what the assumptions are.
Right.
Because just like you said, nobody expects your health insurance to be triple what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So things like that. Like, we knew it was going to increase.
Yeah.
We didn't
know by that much. Yeah.
And we'll see what the final number is.
Sure.
Yeah.
We'll have another update next month after the meeting.
Maybe it'll drop. Oh, that's a work of confidence. Well, thank you, guys. Thank you, and I appreciate this format as well. On to item 3, approval of minutes. Be it resolved that the minutes of the December 16th, 2025 regular meeting be approved. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Pete.
Second.
Thank you, Jackie. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Visitors requests. Anybody tonight, Katie? Or?
Not that I was made aware of.
Okay. All right. On to the approval of warrants. Item 5. Be it resolved that after an audit of the bills, payment of the warrants, and internal claims audit reports be approved. Can I get a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Treasurer's report, 5.2. Be it resolved that the treasurer's report for November 2025 be approved. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Thanks, Gav. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. Natalie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay, Rob, we've got policy 6.1, artificial intelligence. This is our first reading. Highlights of this, Rob?
Yeah, so this was a policy that was first created around 2024, and we're seeing more and more districts adopt something like this because obviously it's something that is being used throughout districts. And so what are some guidelines at a policy level that, that makes sense? So we do allow the use of AI in our school district. And so this puts some guidelines around what that should look like. Obviously, there cannot be any personally identifiable information that is used for this. There ought to be some training around it for our staff. Again, as we get into more and more intricate uses of technology, this is something that is going to be around and continue to be used. And so this is a first, sort of the first opportunity for us to put some guidelines in place. Rob, Z, do you have anything that you wanted to add?
No, you covered it very well.
Okay, yeah, I mean, Rob and I, we collaborated on this. Again, it's something in his world, he's seeing more and more that there's a need for it. So really, this is just, this is what it allows to do. It acknowledges that we do allow its use, and then it starts to put some guidelines around what that use should look like.
Are we only allowing the use of Gen AI, or is like ChatGPT or some of the other platforms available to use for the kids too? Because Gen AI is in the policy, but I didn't know if they were
Gen
allowed.
AI is a type of artificial intelligence.
Right.
We're not specifying which platforms because then we'd have to change the policy.
Okay.
But does that answer your question? Because Gen AI is one flavor of AI.
Well, this is pretty much all about Gen AI.
It is.
It's all Gen AI. So are they allowed to use ChatGPT or other forms?
At the moment, we encourage the use of Gemini because that is baked into our Google for Education platform. ChatGPT, if they use it as a personal user, that has no guarantees. That is not, we don't have a data protection contract with them.
So are you blocking those other sites from our
They are
computers?
blocked, they can still get to them through their own devices.
Okay.
So that's where it's a gray area. We can block all we want, but they have ways to get to it.
Yes.
In other ways, we're just trying to help them understand why we're encouraging the use of Gemini, because what does it mean to train a model?
Right.
You're not training the model, you're using your OA Hornets account.
So are we paying for that extra service? No,
No,
it's a free service. Okay. For now. Some are paid.
Rob, I've got a strange question here. So, and I'm sorry, I'm not really great with really any technology other than just turning lights on. The risks and limitations piece, it's I don't know how familiar you are with this policy, Rob, but it says the use of Gen AI comes with some risks and limitations which include, but are not limited to, hallucinations and confabulations.
Yeah, you can get freaky with the AI.
We'll take it easy. This is G-rated
true.
here.
The best way to put it is the AI is not ever one to say, I don't know. So
Say it again, Rob. I'm sorry, I was getting freaky.
AI doesn't want to just reach a dead end and say, I don't know the answer to your question. So what it will start to do is look for maybe this, maybe that, and then it may start hallucinating, saying things that are not 100% true.
AI itself will hallucinate.
Yes.
The user will not.
That's correct, yes.
Right, okay.
Something about-
And then the confabulations, that's just not a word that I use too often in my back and forth. So I won't be having confabulations.
Yes.
I don't even know what that would feel like. But the computer itself would be.
Yes,
having
that's where you're confusing
confabulations.
like two different things and they morph into another, and that's why we're saying it's never 100% accurate. So
Okay.
use your judgment when you are taking the output from AI.
So a disclaimer of sorts that there might be some issues because it's trying to.
We like that word because it does stand out, and people see that and they're like, "What does that mean?" And it can hallucinate. It doesn't want to say no to you. It wants to keep giving you an answer with every time you give it. So,
Who was the gentleman that was here giving the presentation?
Dr. Chris Harris.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yes.
He spoke so well about AI and how the kids are using it in school, and I believe he spoke to some of the hallucination component. and getting freaky with the AI is his coined
That's
term.
his. You're
Yes.
gonna blame it on this.
I am.
Yeah.
Did a very good job.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if you think of when you're making copies, you make a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. Eventually, it's not crisp anymore. That's the same concept with AI. Over time, it's processing the same information, but garbage in is garbage out. So it kind of depends on what sources you're starting with.
Okay.
And who will be putting on the workshops for the teachers to help with assistance of learning how to incorporate this?
It'll be like we did in February, where we have outsiders like Dr. Ms. Harris coming in. We have myself. We have other people at EduTech BOCES. There's a lot of private providers that are wanting to come into schools too, but as you can imagine, they're a bit more costly. But bringing information to our teachers is one way to do it, as small as a faculty meeting or as large as a staff development day. But we also send people out. Myself and 2 others went to Rochester about 2 months ago to see Dr. Chris Harris present with people that were invited from all over the world to talk about the curriculum that they wrote. And I think I mentioned it at the last meeting. It kind of looks like a calendar where there's 4 different tenets, and it's broken down into columns from K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, and high school. So we were exposed to that from the first look, and we thought, this is really good. This is not the computer teacher or the business teacher teaching this. This fits into many different curricular areas. So we're looking at adopting something we can start with, and I think that's a very good model to look at, so that we make sure it's not something kids hear just in pockets, like the business teacher says it or the librarian says it, but kind of more wide covered out there. But you're right, to do that, we have to have opportunities with staff. So we talk about that when we talk about planning for our staff development days, as well as just the monthly faculty meetings too.
Worth noting is I was on the phone just minutes before this meeting with the school improvement team, and the expectation is that Chris Harris will come out for our March 9th conference day. Still not completely cemented now, but that's the expectation.
That sounds cool.
No, I'd love to be there.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm jealous.
I don't. This seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know how we would adjust this or look at this in a second reading.
Should be Mallory, because it's a lot of her wheelhouse. I mean, I don't know if she's
Yeah,
got input.
I think the only thing is it's limited to just Gen AI. I don't know if that
Makes a difference.
makes a difference, if it needs to be open to other platforms. I don't know. Does it need to be open to other platforms? Or?
Well, what would be like an example?
So, when using Gen AI, all personnel and students must comply with all applicable laws.
Where are they at now?
That first opening line, that last line, in compliance with other documents. Does it need to say any other form of AI, or can it just be specific to Gen AI?
That's like the umbrella.
It's the umbrella?
Yeah, because
It's
generative
not-
AI is meaning new information is being created.
Okay, so
Whereas-
that encompasses all forms of AI.
Yes.
Okay.
So generative
So
is
you
the
don't have to
umbrella,
break it
and then
down.
Gemini and ChatGPT
okay, so
are
it
all
could be
under
different.
generative
It's
AI.
all different.
Because
Okay.
generative means the computer's creating
Creating.
something that doesn't exist yet.
I
Okay.
think
Whereas
that's it.
standard AI
I was getting
would be looking at
confused.
algorithms, because we have written programs that say if 27 of these do that and it's in this bucket, make this. Those are just algorithms where we can predict. The humans can predict what's the output's going to be because they're algorithms. However, Gen AI, we can't predict what the output's going to be because
Gotcha.
it's generating it on the fly.
I got it now.
Yeah, and it's almost like if you think of if a student says, create an essay for me about Abe Lincoln, we can't even check if that's plagiarized because it doesn't exist anywhere yet.
Right.
And it's created every time you give that same prompt, you get a different response.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it's unique in that sense, where we don't know, we can't guarantee we know what the output's going to be.
Got it. I'm good with that.
I'd be curious to see if there's any issues with the current use from the teachers from what students have been presenting. Have you guys heard of any issues?
Yes.
And this would be helpful
That's a
for
different presentation.
a guideline.
Yeah, that's totally.
The idea is that it's sort of the Wild West out there, and sometimes the student may use it as a shortcut. And the idea is you don't want them to use it for a shortcut for the kind of whatever they're producing, whatever their learning is meant to be demonstrated by. You want them to use it in a way that enhances the learning. And there's a ways to go. There's a gap right now between how it's being used in classrooms and sort of the kids on their own using it.
And this will help the teachers, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes. I think this is a cool tool that we're on the cutting edge of, where it can enhance the way we do all things related to delivering instruction.
Okay.
Do you have any reservations, Kev?
So just swear it in tonight
Yeah, do you want to
versus wait till next month?
Yeah,
I'd wait till next month.
we want to do a second reading next month when
Doesn't matter.
Mallory's here.
Yeah, I'd probably get, this is a little bit of her wheelhouse, yes.
Sure. So
Just
we'll
why
put it
not?
up for a second
Second
reading.
reading.
Yeah.
Just
In
be-
February.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Okay.
have anything to change to it, but
Thank you.
out of respect.
Yeah, Rob, man, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
Laura, anything else tonight for us?
No, we're just getting in the groove of budget season. I'm gonna get you those projections for the next meeting and also the 3-year projection when doing the meeting. So yeah, we'll be all set with that.
Well, thank you. Mr. Banzer.
The only thing that comes to mind is obviously it was a very difficult sports weekend. But but I think the silver lining in all of that, by the way, it was a catch. But the silver lining was how everybody conducted themselves. After it, and that there's a lesson there. There's when faced with adversity, when faced with a very, very difficult outcome. Everything that I saw, people rose to the occasion. Those directly involved, and I think there's something to be said there. So that's really all I have.
Thanks, Mr. Banzer. Mrs. Gaylor, any updates tonight?
Yeah, so 2 things. On one side is the financial end of my world. Laura and Jenna and I have been working with the new software Fairbanks for Medicaid purposes and just trying to figure out the different ways to roll out and collect the data for Medicaid billing and all the cost reports that go with that. So I appreciate that they're always willing to answer my numerous questions, and we just worked really nicely together. So I wanted to say thank you to Jenna and Laura. The instructional side of me has been working with Matt and Heather and our special ed teachers. We are getting ready for the New York State simulation for 3 through 8 testing. The tests aren't taking place until the spring, but this is our opportunity to have the kids try it, and that really is important for my role to make sure that all the testing accommodations are appropriate, that they work, that the kids like them, because sometimes the kids will say, I don't like the way that felt, or I don't like having the teacher read, I want the computer to read. So the next couple weeks is going to be a good time for me to collect data to really make sure that our kids are ready for that test.
That's a pain. That's a lot of work for those testing accommodations.
I wish that they didn't clear everything out and start over because
you got them right. You erase them all.
Yeah. So for the simulation, I input everything, and then afterwards they wipe it clean and we start over. So I have to re-enter all that data.
I don't understand why that is like that, because this is not the first time that's
It's
happened.
every year. Every year.
I guess I just don't understand why that wouldn't save with that general student.
It's something to do with the way their numbers are aligned to their accounts, and then they get new numbers and new accounts. So Kim and Melinda will run all their student IDs and the different codes to go with the test. So I don't know. I feel like that's a Rob thing. He should have a Zoom call with the state to make my life a little easier. But we do it every year. But it's a good trial for us to see how our kids respond.
The simulations, have you scheduled those already?
Yeah.
February 2nd.
At least here, I'm not sure what they do.
For the week next week.
Are you doing simulations for the 5th grade science test as well? Or are you doing the whole?
Yep. ELA, math, and science.
Yep. So the whole shooting.
Everything.
Yeah.
Every grade level. Which is, it's good. The kids need it.
No, I think you have to do it because you get an understanding of like, okay, did that accommodation just work? How are these kids using the technology? Is this the right location that they should be in, right? Like, because you see different behaviors.
Well, and for
during
the
testing.
3rd graders, their first time, you'll see like their screens change color, and it's kind of like a disco ball, and you're like, what are you doing? Mrs. Gaylor, it turns red and it turns pink, and I'm like, okay, well, you have to pick one screen color. So we learn a lot to help the kids kind of not get distracted by all the bells and whistles that are there, and make sure that they're using them as a tool instead of a toy.
Yeah, I do. I don't mind the simulation.
Yeah.
I don't mind it at all. All right, thank you. Connie Rocco is excused tonight, so that is on to Mrs. Newton. Any elementary updates?
Yeah, I just wanted to say we welcome Liz Donnelly as our long-term sub for UPK. She's been a couple weeks, but she's been a great addition, and we're really excited to have her on the team. Also, I had some girls revisit me today that were very excited. They used their writing skills on Wednesday last week and thought they could persuade me to call a snow day. And after I told them that I do not have that sort of power in this district, they urged me to send them up to Mr. Banzer. So they've had Thursday, Friday, and Tuesday, and they think they're 2 for 3. So they're pretty sure that they're going to be writing more letters to him for other things that they want, not just snow days, because they think it really works. So that it got them to write, and they were really excited about that and learning the different roles that we all have here. So I wanted to share out, Mrs. Zimmerman had them do that in a group, some 4th grade girls, and
that's great.
they were pretty proud of themselves because they're pretty sure that they're the reason we had a couple snow days.
So put the spoons down.
Just write letters to Mr. Banzer.
That's it.
Anything you need.
Is that right? You get a lot of letters here. Thank you, Mr. Peterson. Any updates tonight?
Yeah, scheduling is, believe it or not, off and running. So we're at the point where our counselors are communicating with parents. I think letters are, if they've not been sent home yet, will be sent home shortly. It talks a little bit about the process, but also invites parents to play a role in that. So some parents will take us up on that and come in and literally sit with their child as they schedule their courses for the next year. In this building, they have to have a full schedule. That means 6 classes. So in addition to math, science, social studies, English, there's plenty of room for electives. With that being said, I want to highlight one new elective that we're going to end up proposing. It's called livestock production. I have Ms. Zastrow, who's here with me tonight. She's gauged that there's a significant interest in this kind of elective. Has talked to kids, has put together a proposal. There won't be any additional costs, but it will meet the needs for our very robust FFA program and offer some additional courses that would keep kids attached to FFA. So, Brittany, I'm sure I didn't do it justice, but if you wanted to add a thought or two.
Yeah, so we have the program here where the kids are able to raise the cows and the pigs through 4-H. In this class, I had plenty of students like Chloe. She came forward and said that you can't be a part of FFA unless you're in an ag class, and if the student has already taken animal science and they're in their junior year, then they need a class for senior year. And livestock production was a class that I took in college, and it's very useful. You're not only learning how to raise the animal, but the nutrition involved, which also ties into humans, and then also the marketing, the livestock production aspect. You're raising an animal because they're seen as an asset, and you're producing that animal, and then you have to reach out and be able to market that animal to somebody that wishes to buy it. Whether it be for meat purposes or their fibers, anything like that. So I think it's a great way to get kids overall introduced to raising animals, reaching out to other adults or any businesses, and really seeing how to put the hands-on knowledge to raise these animals.
How many kids are you thinking are going to be in this section, or that are going to be able to take the class?
Anybody who's taken animal science so far, so I think there's about 9 to 10 that are able to, and they have to take exploratory ag. The idea being that they have the animal science background and they have the exploratory ag to kind of already have their foot in the door with building resumes and kind of the business side of it. So I would probably 5 to 6 kids at least.
And we would run it every other year. We do a lot of our electives.
Okay. That's great.
So this is aside from like what they currently do right now?
This would be a new course offering.
Totally different. So like how they're doing it with the pigs and the steer right now is totally separate?
Yeah, completely separate from 4-H. It's not part of the 4-H business, and it's really just looking at
It'd be one avenue for that, but then will that still be something that would be, you know what I mean, the 4-H avenue here?
Yeah, that's still through animal science.
So it's still through, okay. So it would be 2 separate things.
Do they have to be 11th, 12th grade for this class, or is it something that they can take earlier?
There are some prerequisites.
As long as they take an exploratory ag, which is a freshman elective, and then animal science is a 3rd-year science. I have some students that once they're past their sophomore year, they've already taken that science, so they'll be able to take it junior and senior.
So do you almost see, Brittany, like these courses stacking in a way, like where you like it seems like exploratory science or exploratory, yeah, like So what would be your ideal? So if, like Chloe back there. So hello, Mrs. Lamb. So for like Chloe, would you like to see Chloe take all three of these classes? If that, or
Yeah,
would you take all three of these classes?
She's
Chloe?
the main reason because
I asked her about it.
She has the SAE project through FFA, and the kids need to be supervised and have an agriculture experience under their belt for some of their degrees, and so this will allow them to do that. They're looking at their own livestock production, like even facility. They could see how they could develop something like she has here at the school, because they will have to go through making up like their own business or an internship of some type, and this will kind of gear them towards FFA, and yeah, they'll have to go class to class, take exploratory.
So you said SAE project?
Yep, supervised agriculture experience.
That's a new one on me.
SAE.
SAE. And is Chloe the only kid
Nope, there's
or
other
young
students.
lady that's
There's Vivian Hilchey and Ellie Hudson are both doing steers. Ellie Hudson is also doing market rabbits, and Riley Davis is also doing rabbits for her SAE. And then we have Monique's doing pigs, hopefully.
Yeah,
And
yes,
then
he is.
How many other? Yeah. And then how many other people are doing pigs? 5.
Hudson, Liam, yeah.
Tori, Vivian. So a lot of people have their own individual SAEs.
Supervised agricultural experience. Got it.
It's
All right,
required.
this sounds really cool. So, like, if you're really interested, you can really take away a great deal of learning through these 3 classes, and then parlay that into, like, Chloe, I imagine you're thinking about going to college for.
Yeah.
What do you think about going to college for?
Animal science.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so you're going to sit here, say teaching, I was like, wait a second. No, okay, thank you. This is really neat. That's great. Mr. Peterson, any other updates? Or?
Just that we see that the future of New York State education with the portrait of a graduate, these kind of pathways are going to become the norm, and I think it's cutting edge.
But this is a pathway, right? Yeah. Like it's clear, it's a clear pathway.
Would this fall into the seals by any chance?
Not yet.
Not yet, but potential.
Oh, that's an interesting idea, like an agricultural seal.
Yeah, an egg seal.
That's cool.
I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
No such seal yet towards that, but the pathway will be there nonetheless.
So we should
Let's call it
contact somebody.
Right?
Probably contact somebody and let's get the jump on this.
That's it. The egg seal.
You'll have all the things you want: the project-based learning, cross-curricular connections.
That's awesome. Very good. Thank you.
Can I go to Matt?
Yeah.
Did you or has the financial literacy started to become part of?
So the plan is in place to offer that next year within our business. And actually, it's going to take a very subtle and minor shift, but we'll be offering that to all of our students next year.
And everyone has to take it?
Everyone will end up taking it before they graduate.
What was that, Kevin?
Financial
literacy. It's a new
requirement.
And is that half the year or full year?
I don't recall how we're going to structure that, whether it's going to be a full year or a half year. I can't recall.
Okay.
But we also there's a second requirement that we'll be tying into our earth science curriculum about climate change.
Nice.
That's a second requirement that's coming down from the
That's
state.
interesting.
And we think we can just tie that right into the earth science existing curriculum.
Very good. I also unfortunately heard a few whispers and concerns about the amount of study halls a kid has in a certain day.
Yeah, that's why I made sure to mention that we require a full schedule, and that's 6 courses. So there's going to be some opportunity if a kid wants to navigate their way to have study halls. That's why we want to encourage them to want to take electives, even if it's above and beyond the 6. So go ahead and take that 7th credit or 8th credit. And it's not always, by the way, when I say 6 being full, it's the equivalent. So if a kid has an internship and several students do, that to us counts. So we have a structure to count that as well.
Is there a maximum of how many study halls one can have in a day?
As long as you're at the 6 threshold for a full schedule, there's no set maximum. But there's some who will, when you do, if you have 10 periods in a day, 6 is a full schedule. Now you add a lunch, an office hours, so it's only 2 extra periods in there. But it could be if you do the math. I mean, sometimes with our odd even schedule, a kid might have 3 or 4 in a day, but it all balances out.
3 or 4 study halls in a day.
Some, if they count, some will say to their parents, "Well, I have an office hours and 2 study halls." So they'll just say, "Well, I have 3 study halls in a row." I mean, that's pretty rare, but it's not really a study hall; it's an office hours.
Okay. Seems like a lot. I remember back in the day, I only had half a period of study hall.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And that was, on the other side was lunch. And then is there a restriction of how many you can have back to back to back?
The schedule works out the way it works out, so there's no set restriction on that.
Like, what are the kids going to do?
Homework.
Some of them go home.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, and that's, I think,
So we do allow our seniors an opportunity, if it works out, they can sign out early if their schedule works out where they have study halls to end the day, but we don't offer that privilege to anyone other than seniors.
Okay.
And then we do allow juniors to sign out during office hours, so they could technically leave one period early.
I left at 1:10.
What's that?
1:10 p.m. I left every day as a senior.
School didn't end until 2:36.
I know.
What were you
but
doing?
I didn't have to. That was the time that I had to stay here.
But is that something that we want to?
No. People should be here as many hours as I should not have been leaving at 1:10 every day.
But just curious.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, as much as you only had a half study hall, I was able to, and most of my friends were able to leave at that time too.
We can't force them to take classes.
I feel, my personal opinion is it's bad practice to force a kid into an elective that they don't want to take.
Yeah, because then the teacher gets frustrated, the student gets frustrated. It doesn't.
Yeah.
It hurts productivity, but at the same time, what are we
So how
providing
about
for the child?
incentivize?
Yeah.
Like, how do we
But
incent?
the classes that we offer nowadays is much better than the classes I had back in
Oh,
my
yeah.
time. A bunch of things. Ag stuff, that's something
No
else.
offense to previous, but
I like the Bremer math class.
Yeah, that's good. It's very
Sports
popular.
analysis.
Sports analysis, yeah, that is cool.
It's a big success.
Yeah. Do you guys do like a job share, but for the different elective shares?
We
for
have
the
done
kids?
an elective fair. Actually, it was last week. I should have highlighted that as well. It's on the eve of scheduling. Teachers, we schedule it off certain departments per day, and students come down during office hours and just they hear pitches about the courses and try and turn kids on to signing up for those courses. That was just last week.
Okay. I did see a flyer come home.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, they haven't done that. I haven't seen any of those in the past." So I was kind of excited to hear
last
the
week.
interest in some of the electives for one of my kiddos. Thank you.
No, don't slap me in the face. But were you here when we went from 9 to 10 periods?
I was not.
Is there a reason why we went from 9 to 10?
Since I've been here, there's been 10, and I believe that's when they built the office hours into the day.
Okay. Just because that's an extra period that needs to be filled.
Yeah, the idea was to build in the after school into the day, so all the kids were here and could take advantage of seeing their teachers.
Gosh,
that's my assumption.
Thank you.
That would make sense, right?
Like, what about for programs like middle school and high school? I have middle school and high school students. Is there a time that those office hours can both align?
I get that request a lot. So there's a lot of things that we weigh when we decide to set the office hours. So.
Quiet back there.
It's just a common
You had your time.
We keep them separate. The idea behind the separate office hours at the middle school, we can offer intervention, and then one intervention can see kids at multiple grade levels. So that's why we try and spread them up. High school office hours, we did combine 7 and 8 this year just for logistics and manage. It's just easier to manage. And then 6th grade has their own period. So there's 3 different periods of the day where there's office hours.
I'm good. I'm done.
No, you're okay.
Thanks, man.
Okay, JC, any updates tonight?
Regents went well today. First day of Regents, and I'm usually rescheduling game after game in the spring season, but it seems like we've had a lot of reschedules in this little stretch. So our girls basketball team hadn't played in I think 13 days on that stretch, so they were happy to get on the court tonight, and things are going well. Winter season's in full swing.
And JC, I think, or Matt too, weren't we doing didn't Mrs. Schlagenoff say that we were going to do a social, we were going to do, what did she say? There was going to be the social study Regents, the old version now, and then the new version and...
The new version will be in June.
So those students took the old version...
The only ones who took it this January were
Yeah.
a few students who needed it because they didn't pass it last year.
Got it.
Or they wanted to improve their grade. So the new exams will be offered this June.
I think you're talking about Mrs. Schleidel. She was talking about ELA.
Could be ELA.
Because all the juniors took the ELA
okay.
today, and then they're also going to take it in June.
Yes.
That's the new version.
Because it's the new, they got it. All right.
Yes.
That's correct.
Because they came
Okay.
together, so I think that's
They could be.
the confusion.
And a lot of the hallucinations or confabulations I'm having over here. Thank you, JC, and thanks for the rescheduling there. Some of it, like the Williamson, that was a hike.
A lot better on a Saturday, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness, yeah, and the JV won, so that was a. I drive there again if we get another W. Let's see here, Mr. Z. Any updates tonight?
Yes, I have two things for you. I'll piggyback off the electives fair you're talking about. I got to fly my little drone in the library, gaining interest of students like, oh, what is this? And I said, well, this is an idea that we're bringing into either the coding class with Ms. Butek or also with Zastrow in technology. There's a way for us to bring coding and drone flying together because we do coding now, but it's one thing for kids to see, oh look, bleeps and blops on the screen, isn't that cool? Not really. Well, what if they see you can fly this drone, but in order to do that, you have to learn how to code that drone. And it has 7 different sensors on it, much like our phones do. Proximity sensors, color sensors. So you can tell it, I need to go up until it sees the top of the red table, and then go over here and see if the crops are yellow or green, and do something based off of that, so you can program the drone to fly automatically, like a self-driving car. Or you yourself, and that's what I was doing Friday, can control it yourself and fly with the sticks. So kids seeing that definitely through like what is this? We're doing drones in school. I did apply for a grant that I was supposed to hear by mid-January. We haven't heard yet, but it's a $5,000 grant from Toshiba to try to get us a class set of 12 of these robots. Even if that doesn't work out, I'm proposing it into my hardware budget for next year so that we can move forward with this concept of having most likely middle school, maybe early high school, to experience what it's like to be a drone pilot, what it's like to be autonomous, what it is to use Python and Blockly coding. So it's really a neat concept that's happening now because, as we know, drones are becoming very common in our world. So that's one thing. The other one is, I always love when I can say, we found a better technology that's lower cost. And that has to do with our auditorium project we just did. We put a projector up there now, it's in the back, and it throws the image all the way forward. And we needed a way to wirelessly connect our devices, whether it be Apple, Android, you name it, Windows, Mac, Chromebook, tablets, anything, so that you could be anywhere in the auditorium and be presenting without tethered cables. We found a solution, it's called ScreenBeam. And then I realized, oh, the ScreenBeam devices also give you casting capability to the hallway signs like we do. So instead of me spending the money annual subscription to support our 5 hallway signs, we're going to replace those with a ScreenBeam device, which is a one-time purchase. So after we get through about 2.5 years, it's a break-even point. And now we're not paying an annual fee for a subscription to run digital signage. So it's actually, in my opinion, a better technology to invest into that and then not have to be paying annual fees. So 2 birds with 1 stone in that sense. And you'll see more of that when you're in the auditorium and you see the projector working. No more do we have the card up front. It's a totally wireless situation. Tomorrow morning, we're going to do something similar with the superintendent faculty meeting to the elementary teachers and the cafeteria. So anywhere where we have a projector and we want to be wireless, we have this new device called a ScreenBeam. It does actually 3 things in one. So pretty cool technology.
So digital signage, right? So are you saying like the clock is digital signage?
No, the TVs in the hallways.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the 4 corners we have one
Yeah.
high school wing or middle school wing. We run a Google slideshow with important announcements throughout the day. And so normally we pay screen time. We pay for subscription to have that running on the screens. But you have to pay that every single year. Whereas this device, you purchase it once and it has a perpetual license. So you can use it to demonstrate your Google Slides and not pay an annual fee for it.
So in essence, you can, instead of messing around with a laptop in the front of the auditorium, you can run it off of your phone and it will project.
Any mobile device, yes. It has all the Windows Miracast, Mac OS, Android, iOS. It has all the flavors of tools without needing a separate dongle for each one of those. So now when people show up, we don't have to say, oh, you got to use our Chromebook. We can say, use whatever you got.
Right. And
not have to install anything on it either.
Right. Just way more efficient.
Yeah. The investment up front is for the dongle itself, or the box itself, but literally it's the same price as a Chromebox. And what we have up there now is a Chromebox, so we'll just be replacing what's a device about the same amount of money. But we're thinking 8 to 10 years, 12 years out of it, because unlike a Chromebook that has hinges and can break. There's no moving parts. It's just mounted up in the ceiling.
That's super cool.
So, and then we can cast to them. There's just a whole bunch of things we can do with this Swiss Army knife kind of tool.
Well, thank you, Rob. That's super cool.
The drone thing's pretty interesting. Just I don't think we've realized how much drones are changing our world. And my son's probably going in the military. He wanted to do reconnaissance, and the reconnaissance guys don't kind of get to do the cool stuff they used to because of the drones now. They send the drones out, and so they're not.
Instead of sending your life out.
Yeah, so he was kind of disappointed that drones are taking over what he wanted to do.
Yeah, he could be a Part 107 pilot. That's one of the things we're looking at here. Before kids even leave high school, they didn't get what I have, which is a Part 107 license. You have to be 16 years of age to do it.
Yeah.
And by the time kids leave, senior year, we might be able to have them be Part 107 certified. So we build that into the coursework too.
So would you be actually teaching that class, or would
I would be advising them. If I could teach it, I would, but it's just with my schedule and just Alex and I. But I would be advising, I'd be working with them. And they really do have a nice laid out curriculum that could be a 4 to 6 week unit, self-paced, where the kids come to the teacher and say, oh, I did 1.7, can you see it? The kid proves it, and now the kid moves on to the next thing. So the teacher's not stuck delivering the same information to the masses. Kids can individually progress through it. And it works on the Chromebook, so they can work outside of class if they're so inclined to get ahead a little bit too.
So that would fall into Mrs. Butzek or
Yeah, we haven't decided where it would fall, but tech ed or business or computer programming.
You had, Mrs. Astor, you had somebody come in with the drone, right?
Yeah, Richard Nixon. He's a conservationist. And the
which is a super cool application, right? Like spraying crops and fields is way more efficient than a jet, or not jet, but
a plane drops like
yes.
A former student just made a business like from here.
Yeah, Kuzmano, right? Yeah.
So that's why that was the interest for it, because I know it's a big thing. Drones and technology. Tractors drive themselves now, just like cars. So.
And Mr. Elisa Yancey's husband works with drones, and
yes, we presented with him before to the elementary.
Super. It's a super like a. He doesn't go into work every day, but he'll be out flying his drone and like mapping rooftops.
Yes.
And it's a way to get estimates for like how many shingles to buy or like what's going on with your roof. And there's just like you're saying, Pete, like the applicant. And I'm happy that your son is going to have to operate a drone in a safe spot if that's what he wants to do. I prefer him not doing any of that himself. Kind of like, aren't you pleased that he wouldn't have to?
I think he's kind of disappointed. So.
Yeah, well, as a dad, I sure wouldn't be. And wrap him in bubble tape while he's operating that drone as well. But no, I think it's really, I think there's so much that you can do with it, and to have that license walking out of here would be another great opportunity.
There are people looking to hire. If you have your Part 107.
Excellent. I love it. Great. And Elijah, any updates for us tonight?
Yeah, I've got just a few things to highlight. With the new year kicking off, we've got some new activities and extracurriculars lined up. Mock trial is starting off strong once again, and I see our team being very good this year. We're going to have competitions being held in March. On the other note, I know that auditions and rehearsals have started up once again for this year's spring musical. And a couple weeks ago, Student Council had administered the pep assembly for the high school that was supposed to be before winter break, but it got canceled, postponed due to the snow day that we got. With respect to the progression of winter sports, the girls swim team is the top team in the league. I believe they've got a record of 8-1, and this Friday they got Genesee Regionals, I think. And lastly, the girls varsity basketball team has been doing very well this year. They're undefeated going into their game tonight against Alba. So hopefully that goes out well for them. Thank you, guys.
Elijah, you're not off the hook yet.
All right.
What's your role in mock trial?
So I do prosecution and defense. I'm a lawyer for both.
They're in trouble. And then for the spring musical, do we know what it's going to be yet? Or yeah, we do.
What, is it Newsies?
Newsies? Is that
no idea what that is, but yeah.
It's a musical.
It's a lawyer.
All right. Thank you, and thank you for mentioning those teams as well. And we wish the rest of the teams good luck as they kind of wind up for sections. Thanks again, Elijah. Okay, on to new business. Be it resolved that items 8.2 through 8.5 be approved by a consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Oh, there was a tie there. Pete seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 8.6, the Stream Data Centers donation. Be it resolved that the Stream Data Centers donation of $50,000 is offered per the attached letter be accepted. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Just want to point out that, we've met with representatives from Stream Data Centers, and they really expressed their desire to connect and commit to the community. And so, there are some things, that we gathered in terms of some items, and they were very, very charitable and gracious to donate the money for us to be able to carry some of those things out. So, very appreciative of that.
Yeah, that's a very generous donation, and we look forward to, maybe having a better relationship as we look into the future. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Faye, do we have any communications tonight? You pass on those? Okay. On personnel, 11.1. Be it resolved that 11.2 to 11.7 be approved by a consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Part of this approval are the retirements of 3 people that have worked in our district for a very long time. Dawn Fisher, Kathleen Rushlow, and Tracy Schlagenoff. I'd like to thank you for deciding to partner with us over all these years, and we wish you the best of luck at the end of the year here, and thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Let me just see here. That was consent to 11.7. Okay, that gets us to the end here. Closing remarks. Pete, would you mind starting us off then, please?
Sure. Thoughts and prayers out to the Marble family and to Chamberlain family that they're all dealing with, I guess you would say, life issues. And I think you've seen over the last month or two just how this community comes together and supports all those people with that. So I want to offer that to them. Glad our girls basketball team is doing so great this year, and swim team. It's always great. I think winter's always that great time of we don't have anything else to do other than watch sports, so it's always I think we get more attention during that. But wanted to also just kind of touch a little bit on the budget this year, especially after last year. So I came up with this analogy of the ocean, and it's the tide in the ocean that works every day in and out. Slow moving, just constantly moving, but the tide is what builds habitat in the ocean. It's used for navigation, it cleans the ocean, and then you get storms that come, just blow in, make a lot of noise, and then they're gone. And I think that people have the opportunity this year to really help us with this budget, the way we've laid it out. We've listened to what everybody said last year about the communication and the getting information out there. So we created a special parent square for everybody. We've been proactive on getting the dates out so that people can get here. But and the hard part is that there's the tide, and then there's the storm, and then there's the people just on the beach that want to enjoy the ocean. Sometimes they get caught in those storms. And unfortunately for us, that's usually our kids that are in these walls. And I think last month we already started to hear about how, some of the cuts that we had to make last year to get to it is already affecting our kids and some of the English classes that they were saying that aren't able to get the help to the kids that need it. And which kids is it that are going to suffer the most from that? the kids that need it. You know, we can sit here, we can cut a lot of things. We can cut staffing, we can cut programs. You know, even like one of my thoughts was, you know, when I went to school, every sport you played, you had to pay for your own jersey. Like, well, right there's probably a good amount of money every year. Probably not going to affect anybody in this room. Probably not going to affect 90% of the kids in our school, right? Because parents will just pay that. Who's it going to affect? It's going to affect the kids that probably need the sports the most. So I think that's, as we're going through these budgets, it's something that we really need to think about. You know, is, you know, they're numbers, but there's kids behind those numbers that we're trying to take care of. And it's easy to cut stuff out, but you know, those are the kids that we're fighting for.
Well said, B. Manly.
It's a hard one to follow.
Yeah, I know.
Holy cow. So, yeah, what Pete just said, wow, that was great. We didn't get a chance to reflect any in December, as it was kind of a quick meeting. I just want to say thank you to a lot of the staff, the bussers. The drivers are absolutely amazing, making sure those kids get home safe every day. And I just want to thank you on days like today where it's really bad out and our kids are getting home safe. I saw a car completely turned over on the side of the road on my way home from Batavia. And it just makes me happy to know that I can send my kids to and from school and trust those drivers to get them there. I want to say thank you to all of the elementary teachers for just staying on top of the kids, getting those little homework assignments home. They really help with the literacy, the math, and I just want to say thank you, because a lot of times the kids bring it home. They don't show the parents, and you really have to do a little bit of navigating as a parent to find those assignments and make it work. But in the long run, it is appreciated. I am appreciative of it. Looking forward at the budget. So what's nice is Chris was here today to bring in this data stream money, and I'm hoping that as we go forward with the stamp project and stream data, that we'll continue this neighborly agreement and continue to build programs for our district and enrichment opportunities for the kids. I want to see this as an advancement for our district and not as something scary or will affect our tax levy and our budget going forward, but as an asset that we can continue providing these really neat programs for the kids and have something that other schools don't have. So thank you for that, Chris. I appreciate you being here today to answer any questions that we may have had. So thank you.
Mrs. Younger, Davis.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the keywords were highlighted to be a little scary, just hearing some numbers and hearing some just unknowns, and unknown is always scary. We just don't know what direction to do, but I think in January sometimes it's a refreshing reset month for me. You've heard me say this before, but you guys have before. I love January. I love snow. I love cold weather, and I think it's a good time to just regroup and reset and take a deep breath, because actually breathing cold air is really good for you and really healthy. So I think it's a good time in perspective, and I see a lot of positives, like hearing the stream data opportunities and the collaboration. What I really like is its communication, its collaboration. And yes, it's scary because there's things that come in and we don't really have positive outcomes, or we have things that come and nothing really happens and there's been a lot of unknowns. This is still positive. It's an opportunity, it's hope, and I think bringing things to our district, our community, our students, it's really hopeful to have someone be willing to be involved in that. And I think the communication with the school, I like the collaboration that I kind of am starting to see with our towns and our village. I think that's a really good perspective, and it gives me a lot of hope for moving forward. So I think take a deep breath, move forward. The budget, it is what it is. We're going to work diligently, listen with what we got in front of us, and the minute it changes, we'll work with that. So kind of move along as we go. So looking forward to a challenge, and it is what it is.
Thanks, Jackie.
Yeah.
I didn't get to say last month, thank you to Holly Julicler for coming down and stepping up into EPK thank you for her time and years spent with us. And then thank you to Mrs. Newton for turning that position fast over, for Elizabeth Donnelly to come right in. No hiccups at all. Very smooth transition. Hope things are going well for her and the kids in her class. So thank you again for being very spot on with that. And it's, January 21st feels like the holidays were a long time ago for me.
Yeah, me too.
They flew right by, and we're back to it. And we have a big mountain to climb, a lot to tackle for the remainder of the school year, which is, I guess, I've heard the word scary a lot today. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be scary, because I saw, if you remember many meetings ago, we had a lot of community members come out to support a young man, and a lot of good, support. And we kind of need to follow that up, and we need more of that support and voice to help us through the next many challenges that come with the budget, hiring the next superintendent. A lot of responsibility lies on our shoulders, and we can't do it alone. There's a comment made at that meeting that we were we were elected officials on the public's behalf, and we were, but you who elected us, we need your help to ensure that we create and continue to create a safe environment for all our kids, students, faculty members, and create the best educational place of learning as possible. And I look forward to having my first budget workshops. It's going to be an interesting experience, but hope we can help and tackle these next few challenges.
Thanks, Kevin. For me, I guess I'm at a point here. This is year 7, and I am still enjoying being on this board. And again, it's because of the people that I serve with. And I think what I am starting to see are some what may appear to be small changes, but I think they're big in the grander scheme of things. Every night, I don't have to ask my kids how their day went. My son Nate walks me through every single period. He perseverates over if he got an 88 or a 92, and what's going on in this class or that class. And my daughters now are showing me the program that as a district for math that we decided to invest in, Reveal. I couldn't be any more pleased with the language that they're coming home with, the consistency that's there, and not that it wasn't there before, but it's fun to talk to them about math. My Lauren was like so excited to talk to me about how to do an area model, and would mom know how to do an area model of multiplication? I said, probably not, right? She doesn't really know these new kinds of things. And then Natalie today was talking about partial quotients and a standard algorithm for division, and looking at the science that Natalie just finished. I am amazed. I know these kids very, very well. I've used them for many years. The amount of work that they're doing, and from Mr. Lamar to Mrs. White. Mrs. White just finished a unit on water, the geosphere, the atmosphere, the hydrosphere, and Natalie's having these conversations with me. So from 7 years ago to today, I'm seeing big shifts in curriculum, and it's paying off. I'm very, very, very grateful for where we're moving towards. I think we all had very insightful statements that we said. Chris, I'm sorry, I don't know you. I apologize, but you're representing
Genesee County Economic Development Center.
Got it. Oh, okay.
The stamp site, GCEDC, all the great programs. I do Global 3 Hands, do a lot of workforce development programs. So, and we do have some cards on the table on data centers. You guys talked about AI, which is where you think that comes from, right? So This is going to be a hyperscale data center, and there's some information for the community to learn about data centers, because there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Yes.
So we're trying to clear that up. There's going to be an information session in the town of Alabama on Monday night at 6 o'clock, where a stream is going to be there to answer questions. So we're happy to be there and answer questions And as we said, they want to be community members. And, this is just the beginning. So there's a lot of cool stuff. Maybe we can buy some drones. Maybe we can do some other stuff, So we're all about positive stuff here for the community.
Well, just you being here tonight says a lot, and we appreciate your attendance here.
Appreciate it.
And I think the word that you use, misinformation, is what we suffer from a lot, and last year in particular, and even this year, at a meeting we were referencing earlier in relationship to a young man here. There's misinformation, and sometimes we can address it, but when there's instances that we can't because we're not at liberty to. Those storms that you're referring to, sometimes those are people on Facebook or social media that are spreading misinformation. And that doesn't help anyone at all here. And the word transparency, right? That was used an awful lot at the end of last year by several community members. We do our best to be transparent. And right now we are being fully transparent with what we're doing, and we will continue to be. And I hope people are viewing this tonight or attending this meeting and being an active participant, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for people to participate. And sometimes it's going to be negative, right? Some people are going to express their feelings in a negative way, and hopefully we can do as best as we can to understand why we're making the decisions that we can in a way that we're allowed to. Chris, thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for the donation. I hope this, we'll get to know each other a little bit better. I apologize for not acknowledging you earlier.
That's quite all right.
But you did laugh at a couple of my jokes.
I did,
man. I appreciate it, man.
This is
I have a marking here 3 times you giggled, so I appreciate that. That does it for me. Thank you for the movements with curriculum. Thank you for being part of the budget presentation tonight, and look forward to you being a part. If you're watching on YouTube or you're reading it later, we appreciate that. We are going to go into executive session. Be it resolved, the board will enter executive session at 7:21 to discuss personnel. Can I get a motion? Can I get a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?